Hello everyone, it's me, Sarah. Welcome to A Curious Cuttlefish. Today I'm going to be doing Scrubby Yarn Reviews Part 2. Earlier this week on Tuesday, I had talked about some scrubby yarns, and so today I'm going to show you the projects that I made with them. I am going to show you what they look like while I'm crocheting them and how they frog. So that's going to be today's video. Let's start with, I think I started with, here is Red Heart Scrubby. And I'm going to start off showing how it crochets. So right here we have a small bit that's just single crochets. I'm going to stick it here in my hook, and you can already see as I'm trying to pull this tighter, it does catch on itself because of all these little filaments or whatnot on here. I'm just going to do some double crochets. And this one, I would say, slides off my hook very well. It crochets easily. The one negative side I have about Red Heart Scrubby is if you are a new crocheter, you can see here, you can semi-see those stitches, but they are very difficult to see with all these little strands coming off of your main strand. So the little strands are a consistent length for the most part, so it's not overly confusing, but it is hard to see when you're working with it. This one catches a little bit. I'm not pulling it that hard, very lightly, but it is frogging pretty well for a yarn like this. It's getting caught a little. So, here we go. Pulled it all out. I would say this one frogs fairly well. It does catch a bit. You have to be gentle when you're pulling it. You can't pull stuff out really quickly. So this is Red Heart Scrubby. And here is the dishcloth that I made. This is the knit pattern, and this is my grandma's favorite dishcloth. So you start in one corner and you increase, and once you get to the width you decrease. For all of the washcloths I did in this review, I increased until I had 25 stitches on my needle, and then I would decrease until I went back down to 3 stitches like what I started. So there's a scrubby. Also to note, my needles, I worked up all these dishcloths using the same pair of needles. These are number 8, so I believe these are 5mm knitting needles, and I used a 5mm crochet hook, my Clover 5mm H crochet hook, to make all of the dishcloths. So it'll be the same number of stitches in each of these. Then here's the crochet one, and this was I believe it's a Lily Sugar and Cream pattern. I will have links to the pattern that I used to test these in the description box beneath. But here is the crocheted one, and this is just a basic single crochet, chain 1, single crochet, and then in the next row you're doing your single crochets into the chain 1 space. So there's a dishcloth. I really like that since the scrubby parts are pretty uniform, this has a pretty uniform scrubbiness to it. I like the color that this one is in, and overall this yarn, I would say, crocheting, it worked up great, really fast. Knitting was pretty good. not as good as crocheting for the red heart scrubby. So there's the red heart. I will put a picture at the end of all of these next to each other so you can see them side by side. That was the red heart scrubby. And as you can see, I did get 2 dishcloths. I have this much left over. Sorry, there's like a lot because I just frogged out that part to show you. See all this. I would say this is probably enough to do another knitted one if I wanted to. I will have to give you final thoughts on this in tomorrow's video. So there's Scrubby by Red Hearts. And then I believe it was the Premier Yarns washi. And this one was the red. So let me show you guys. Here it is. I did 2 rows of single crochet. I feel like you can see the stitches a little better. Can you guys see the stitches a little better? And I'm not sure if that's just because of this color as opposed to the blue where there's a lot of different colors going on. But there's also something else I want you guys to see before I start crocheting with this. Do you see how this loop has, the strands are not held together. Even here at the end, this is 2 strands and it comes undone quite easily. Even here, you can see that they're not really twisted together. So that's something to note on the Premier Yarns washi. Trying to tighten this one is not as difficult as the Red Heart Scrubby. So I'm just going to do a quick row of double crochets here. Again, I can see the stitches slightly easier on this one, so it makes it a little easier to pick where my hook is going. I will say I think that crocheting with the Red Heart Scrubby was a little better. There you go. I did a row of half double crochets. And even there, see, I just took my hook out and you can see how this yarn, it's not really staying together. When you're crocheting with it, you do have the chance of only grabbing one of these 2 loops by accident just because this yarn splits. And that was something that I didn't enjoy when crocheting with it. So frogging, as you saw right there, got a little stuck. I'm not pulling too hard because if you pull these yarns hard, they catch much more easily because of all of the extra fibers on there. So there's it frogging. So you can pull it out. It pulls out fine. It just will catch here and there, as you would expect with the yarn that has all this texture on it. Alright, so now let's go into, here is the knitted one. These are all that same pattern. I went until I had 25 stitches and then I did the decrease. I feel like this one is a lot more open than the Red Heart, and I believe that that's because the little filaments, I'm not sure what to call these, the little strands that come off of this Premier Yarns washi, here you can see, they are a lot thinner and smaller than the ones on the Red Heart Scrubby. So because of that, this has, when it was worked with the same needles, it looks a lot more open, and you can see through it a lot more. And I would say it's about the same roughness as the Scrubby. It would wash dishes well. There's the knit one. Here is the crochet. And again, you can see the stitches, you can see through this one a lot more easily just because Again, I believe it's because you see those fibers on there. They are a lot thinner. And this yarn did split when I was crocheting with it, and it did split when I was knitting with it. I had a bit more difficulty with this one, but I do like the bright colors that it comes in. So there is the Premier washi. Those are the two projects, the knit and the crochet. So I'm going to put that one off to the side. And then I believe after that I went to the hobium. If this is out of order, oh well, this is what I have next to me. So here, we're going to talk about the hobium Kartopu Wash It. And this one, try to pull this little piece up here. Here's the 2 rows of single crochet. I am going to just do a row of double crochet here on camera so you can see me working with it. This one, the fibers are a bit thicker than the washi that I just showed you. This is a lighter color, and if you can see here, again, I don't know, like I can see the stitches, yes, but I feel like when you work with these scrubby yarns, you really just need to have that confidence of, okay, I know where my stitches are, I'm just gonna go for it, or pick a pattern like I did where you're working into the chain 1 spaces to put your stitches in instead of one that you have to really find where that stitch is to put your crochet hook or needle into it. Well, knitting's a little easier because your stitches are around your needle. You don't have to search for where the top of the stitch is. So there we go. There's the row. I felt like this one crochets very smoothly. Again, I think the only difficulty with yarns like this is that you have to be confident in where you are putting your stitches. Frogging this one catches a little. Got a little there. You cannot frog this yarn quickly. So there we go, we pulled it all out. The slip knot pulls out too. And you can see in this one how uneven the fiber sizes are. I mean, just look at that as I pull it through. They're all over. So this is the Kartopu Wash It. And let's get into the knitted one. So here's my knitted washcloth. I feel like you can see through this one, but I do feel that this one is a thicker gauge than the washi, the Premier Yarns washi that we saw right before this one. I like the texture on this one. I feel like, I mean, these are all made to wash dishes. This will definitely wash a dish as well. I like the colors that this yarn comes in. There's a wide variety of colors that they have on there, in addition to like color changing ones similar to the ice yarns that's coming next. So there's the knitted version, and then here is the crochet version. And because this one had so many different lengths of the fibers, I believe that's what gives it all this texture coming up and into it. So usually I do a border around these, but because I gave myself 2 days to make all these washcloths and make this video, we're doing washcloths like this. So fun. This is a Kartopu Wash It, and I like this one. I do. Here's the 2. Knit and crochet. These are also thicker, I would say, when you lay them flat, as opposed to the Premier Yarns washi. Okay, and finally I will be doing, let's pull up, this one is this is Ice Yarns, and it is the Scrubber Twist Color. So there's the ball band for this one. Here it is, worked up into 2 rows of single crochet, just a little piece. I can see the stitches on this one. Again, I think this might be more of a color thing than anything. This is a lighter color, therefore it is easier to see. I just didn't want to get all the same color, so here I will show you guys how I crochet with it. I would say this one slides off the hook very easily. I have to say, I've been really shocked at the fact that you can frog this type of yarn so easily, because I just had this notion that it wouldn't frog well because of all of these bits that just come up off of it. That has been my experience with fur yarns, and so I just assumed this yarn would behave similar. So there is a row of half double crochets. I'll put this down, and I will frog this one. And you can see right here, I would say by far this one is the easiest, absolute easiest to frog. Little to no effort pulling that at all. And if you look at the fibers up across there, these are all pretty even. They're all pretty close to being the same length for that scrubbiness on there. Okay, so this is the Ice Yarns Scrubber Twist Color. I'm trying to keep all of the brand names straight. They're all Scrubby Wash something. Alright, so here is, oh, okay, so I wove in tails for most of them. These two I didn't get to. Fun. Okay, well, here's the knit washcloth for the Ice Yarns. I feel like this one is more fluffy than the other ones, maybe just because these fibers are longer. You see how much fluff we have around this one? It might just be I think it's this yarn. It's just like it feels more fluffy. It's pretty airy as well. You can like see through it. But again, I would not say that this one is as light as the Premier Yarns. The Premier Yarns was by far the lightest scrubby yarn as far as, you know, your weight goes. And maybe that was because I was having splitting issues with that one, and it was 2 strands of yarn that just weren't really twisted together. That might have been what it was. But again, you know, these fibers are a bit thicker. They're not as thin. And it would work very well for scrubbing things. So there's the knit version of this. I like how the colors just worked out so nicely and almost a full repeat right here, just one for this washcloth. And then here is the crochet version. And again, you know, this one's a bit airy. You can see through it, you can see the holes, but I believe that since the fibers on here are so fluffy, you don't really notice the holes as much. There's such a halo on this from these fibers. It has a very good texture to it. So there's the completed project with the Ice Yarns. And yeah, those are the 4 yarns. I will insert a picture right here so you can see These are all the different knit washcloths all together, and you can see if there's any size difference. I did use the exact same needles. I used the exact same pattern to make all of these knit washcloths, and so the size difference really is that yarn weight. They all said that they were the same weight, but when working with them they can have these slight differences. And then here are all of the crochet washcloths in each of the different yarns that I did. So you can see if there's any variance there. They all use the same hook, they all use the same pattern, they were all made the same way. And there you have it. So those are the projects that I made with this yarn. It was very fun to try a whole bunch of yarns that are all basically advertised as being the same thing. I will have my final thoughts for you tomorrow, and I will be putting together a list of qualifications that I'm looking for when I'm using different types of yarns and what each one scored on those qualifications. So at the end of tomorrow's video, you will see which one I deem is the best scrubby yarn and which one I will probably never be purchasing again. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching my videos. If you have enjoyed this, please hit the like button down below. Thank you if you're a returning subscriber. I so appreciate you. And if you have not yet subscribed to my channel, please subscribe. I would love to also hear if there are any other types of yarns you would like me to review. I'm always looking for more things to work on and to create and to make for you guys, so let me know in the comments beneath. And I will be seeing you guys tomorrow with part 3 of this video series.